Barcelona are just one win away from securing yet another La Liga title after defeating arch-rivals Real Madrid by 4-3, and in this video we're going to be breaking down how they did it, including how they came back from 2-0 down to be 3-2 up in just 15 minutes. Real Madrid started the game on fire, looking to have runs from Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. start to break through and penetrate that Barcelona defensive line. It was then through that they managed to get not only one goal but two, both for Kylian Mbappe very early on in the half. But once the dust settled and Barcelona managed to regain some form of possession, it really started to turn the tables and put it very firmly into the favour of Barcelona. The aggressive positioning of Gerard Martin, the aggressive positioning of Eric Garcia allowed for the wingers of Barcelona in Yamal not only to stay out wide and occupy a number of different spaces, but also give Rafinha the license to then move infield, creating a numerical advantage a lot of the time. I mentioned the flow of the game moving into Barcelona's favour, and that is heavily down to the rotation, the passing game and the movement of the three Barcelona midfielders in Pedri, De Jong and Olmo. Olmo playing a pivotal part in the build-up to some of these goals, and we'll explain why a little bit later. Ferran Torres obviously making a little bit of a nuisance of himself as well, and all of a sudden you found the game start to turn, and it turned on a dime with a set piece. And this is the set piece. At this point, Barcelona have started to gain control on the match, started to gain some kind of a possessional advantage, and are looking to really make it count. And in this particular example, they really do. This is a great example of the way that Barcelona took advantage of and exposed Real Madrid's zonal marking system from corners. If you notice, yes, in certain areas you've got one player marking another, and again on the edge of the area, but in certain cases you had a more zonal system, and that's exactly what you had for the centre of the goal. Notice that nobody is marking Eric Garcia as he's running towards the ball. As he goes towards the goal, he's gaining momentum, and it's that momentum that's going to take him in between the Real Madrid players uncontested. So as the ball gets whipped in, you're then going to get a forward motion and forward movement from Ferran Torres, flicking the ball over towards the centre of the goal. It gives it into the on-running player's advantage because he's the one with momentum. He's the one gaining that space, that challenge. And in Eric Garcia's case, once this ball gets flicked over, it's more or less his to be won because the Real Madrid players from that zonal system are more stationary. He manages to get his head on it pretty brilliantly and shuffle it into the net in pretty fantastic fashion. And that begins Barcelona's comeback. I mentioned the rotation, movement and passing game of this Barcelona midfield three, and this was a key highlight of the way that they managed to break down this Real Madrid defensive line. Pedri moving into pockets of space out in this left-hand channel, but most of all making sure that he has a good facilitation of play when progressing that ball forwards. Dani Olmo dropping back to help his side recycle possession, but then making incredibly crucial late runs into the box. And it's these late runs that really did start to cause a big problem for Real Madrid, because although you had players moving forwards, although you had players looking to pressure, what you had with Olmo's run is then that pushing that Real Madrid line back a bit. So once Olmo made his movement, once he made his run, it drops this Real Madrid back line, and that occupies and gives space. It naturally pushes this Real Madrid side back a little bit, and that gives space for Pedri, it gives space for De Jong to then move forwards, pushing Madrid back into their own box and then giving Barcelona that license to go forward, that real aggressive tendency that they have to then go and really suffocate this Madrid back line. It was then through that they gave the space to Lamine Yamal, through that it gave the space to Frenkie de Jong, to Pedri, and it started to really go into Barcelona's favour through the movement, the transitioning and the rotational game from these Barcelona midfield players. And it was through those good rotations, those off-the-ball runs, and that good possessional game that got Barcelona into this moment right here. Pedri is on the ball currently, and he's about to play a pass into a more central zone next to Ferran Torres, who's making a movement into an inside channel between fullback and centre-back. Really good movement from this Barcelona side. But let's just take a look at what we're looking at here. Let's take a moment just to analyse, breathe in and take stock of what Barcelona are doing currently. Real Madrid currently have a back four, a really narrow back four in their penalty area, and you could argue that's a really good defensive shape. Their midfield three is good, nice and condensed, preventing the centre of the pitch from being worked through. But if you're giving too much space to those wide areas, it's a funny thing. If you're offering up too much space, it can also be, if not more, detrimental to your side. Because if we just do this for a moment, look at the amount of space that Lamine Yamal is in. If I just do this, look at that on the wing. Now all of a sudden, even though Pedri doesn't play that pass, this pass through into Yamal is on. He can make that movement, he can make that run pretty easily, pretty simply. Now although Pedri doesn't play the pass, he definitely has the ability to play it. Although he doesn't necessarily see that there, he could play the pass in a different moment. Notice the position that Gerard Martin is in. He's been given acres of space, but because the ball is on this side of the pitch, next to Yamal, I think Madrid have to do a better job. In particular, Vinicius Jr. has to do a much better job of closing down the space and helping out his fullback right here. Because once the ball gets played through into that inside channel with Ferran Torres, a great movement to swivel on one foot and make sure that he's facing goal, immediately creating a little bit more pressure. What that instantly does to Fran Garcia is force him to try and condense the space and help out his teammates, which naturally gives even more space to Lamine Yamal. So as the ball gets rotated round by Ferran Torres, all of a sudden you have no opportunity to close down this space. You're far too far away from the play, you're not giving yourself enough chance to be able to close down that moment, and it almost encourages Yamal to take the shot. In this particular example, you need to be aware of your surroundings, you need to be able to scan continuously, and at this moment, Yamal takes his shot. Of course it's brilliant, of course he is absolutely sensational, but there are so many different avenues and ways that this Barcelona side can open you up that you need to be aware of a number of different moments, and Real Madrid just weren't, and Barcelona took absolute maximum advantage. A key component of this Barcelona high line is maintaining a good recovery press when it comes to winning the ball back, meaning that they want to stop Madrid from transitioning as much as possible, and this is down to the forward players, this is down to the midfielders. Pedri making sure that he's aggressive onto Mbappe, Olmo making sure that he's aggressive onto Ceballos. If De Jong is out of the play because he's been pressurising Bellingham, making sure that he gets back into position as well, and it's all about recovering the ball as quickly as possible. The moment they do that, they want to make sure with that counter press they are then able to transition back and take Madrid when they look like they're going forwards, because it means that they're able to occupy and really exploit those spaces that are given because Madrid want to open up. And naturally, when you do that, when you think your side is going forwards, you do naturally just start to vacate your area. You start to naturally open up the spaces, and it's through that transitional play that Barcelona managed to get a lot of turnovers, and in those turnovers you're taking advantage of the players that aren't necessarily ready for that moment. They're not anticipating, they're not ready to expect any kind of turnover happening for the other side because they're far too focused with the way that their side could progress forwards. But if that doesn't happen and the aggression is good enough from Barcelona and they manage to turn over the ball, it means that there is a far more dangerous attack waiting to happen. And this is exactly what happens for Barcelona's third goal. This is incredible. Look at the incredibly high line that Barcelona are playing currently. Vinicius Jr. is looking to make a run in beyond, continuously looking for that run in beyond that offside line. But what have you got? You've got Mbappe ready to control the ball. You've got Ceballos trying to go forwards. Now, don't let anyone get this twisted. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Because although, yes, Mbappe and Ceballos run into each other, although it's a mistake, yes, but it's a mistake that is forced. It's not unforced. It's not done off of the back of Ceballos not having any pressure. There is monumental amounts of pressure from both Dani Olmo and Pedri in this particular moment. And due to the intensity that the game is played at, due to the moment that the game is played at, and due to the sheer atmosphere between yourself and your arch rivals, there's all of these things happening at the same time. So with that, comes turnovers. With that comes aggression. With that comes a node of space being opened up. Notice the positioning up on your right-hand side between Vasquez and Rafinha. Rafinha isn't dropping back because Vasquez is deciding to go and take that space, and he's decided, I'm going to just hold my position right here and wait because I believe in my team to then recover the ball. As the ball gets recovered and goes forwards, you've still got Vasquez making a movement. He still believes his side is going to get the ball. But notice the positioning still of Rafinha, watching this unfold. And the moment the ball gets turned over, it's then a time for Real Madrid to retreat. It's time for Barcelona to drive. Pedri takes the ball and drives into the space, but he also notices the difference between the centre-back for Real Madrid and the right-back for Real Madrid. And it's that space that gets opened up. It's that space that he plays into. It's the space that Rafinha makes a great run for. He goes from outside to in. He goes from this position here to inside to be close to goal. Go centrally. You go wide to go central. Really, really good. He gets the ball and then he drives at this Real Madrid back line. He drives at the goalkeeper for a 1v1. He fires it into the bottom right-hand corner, and that is 3 goals within 15 minutes after being 2-0 down early on in the half. The comeback has well and truly been completed. And before we end, guys, let's take a look at Barcelona's 4th goal. Their 4th goal in 45 minutes to really finish that comeback and in the end win the game. This came from a really good piece of pressing play. I mentioned the aggression that Barcelona had earlier, but this piece of more synchronized pressing play is also really impressive. So what have you got? We've got the 2 Barcelona centre-backs just off your screen marking Kylian Mbappe, and this is a far more of a man-marking hybrid pressing style system that we're used to seeing with a number of different sides. So you've got De Jong onto Jude Bellingham, marking that player. You've got Dani Olmo onto Valverde, again marking. You've got Pedri pressurising onto Ceballos, and you've also got Ferran Torres dropping to really pressure onto Tchouaméni. Gerard Martinez made a really good run from left back to pressurise onto Goulet. As Goulet is taking that pressure, he's misplaced the pass over to Lucas Vasquez, a player that Rafinha right here is looking to pressurise as well. Just on the bottom of your screen, you've also got Lamine Yamal pressurising onto Fran Garcia. So again, like I said, more of a hybrid man-marking system, and it's through that that really pressurises the Madrid defence, and it forces them into a big error. This error is then capitalised upon by Rafinha with his pace, his power, and the real aggression that he's got to pressurise. As he pressurises, he manages to hold up that Madrid back line. He wins the ball back, and then it's about those late runs. It's about the runs from Ferran Torres. It's about the run from Olmo. It's about the runs from Lamine Yamal. Again, really taking advantage of the pressure that they've put onto this Real Madrid back line. As the ball goes through over to Ferran Torres, he lays it off and then makes a movement himself, Rafinha, into the centre of the box. Look at how they're dragging away this Real Madrid back line as well. They're all over the place, and that's down to the great movement, it's down to the aggression, and it's down to the tenacity from this Barcelona side, utilising that hybrid pressing motion. As the ball gets squared over to Rafinha, it's a really simple finish to finally put Barcelona 4-2 up. Of course, Real Madrid get a goal back later down the line for Mbappe's hat-trick, but it wasn't enough. Barcelona end up winning the game in spectacular fashion, again completing a huge comeback in 15 minutes. But of course, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. What did you make of Barcelona? What did you make of Real Madrid? And what do you think about Barcelona winning yet another La Liga title? Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something new, and hope to see you in the next one. But until then, my friends, take care.